Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in into another episode of Design and a Half. I'm going to use this episode and try and give you a rough introduction of who I am and what I did up until this point and why I'm actually passionate about design. So let's get started then. So my first introduction to design happened, I think, back in 2005. Back then I used to still study economics. I was in first year of economics, and I was hoping to become an accountant, if I'm not mistaken. And the funny story is that I actually flunked my 1 year of economics, and in order not to waste my summer at that point, I just wanted to do some work to earn some money for myself. And I got sort of an internship at a print shop, and that's where I learned a lot about design and especially about desktop processing. And it's actually where I got very interested about design and thinking seriously about pursuing it in terms of a career. And as a result, just a little time after that, I actually decided not to go with economics further and drop out of economics school and just do design school as a long-term thing. And that's when I joined my university's design course and started studying design per se. However, I do have to mention that before that I did work sometime in learning Photoshop. I was really passionate about Photoshop at that time, and I joined DeviantArt, I think it was 2004, and wanted to learn more and more about the Photoshop as a tool, and started to do all kinds of crazy projects like wallpapers and stuff. It was that kind of period where you would actually do those sorts of things, and the community was still decent back then. It was small, it wasn't that big, and it was just building on top of itself. It wasn't as big as it is now, definitely not. It was just starting out, and it was way cooler back then. But anyways, getting back on point, my first university year was really interesting in the sense that we learned a lot of things about design that I didn't actually even know exist, like composition and colors and that sort of thing. And sort of at the same time, I also did a bit of freelancing. It was really early, and we just did small projects like logos and that sort of thing, and all sorts of printed ads for smaller companies in Romania. But it was really nice because it got us to experience the perks and also the constraints of working with clients as early as the first year of university. And that was sort of like a really unique experience for me, because it helped me prime myself in terms of a mindset for much later on, when I actually finished my university degree and got my BA. After finishing my university degree and getting my BA, I actually sat for quite a while without a job and looking for something, until I found an ad from a company in Timișoara, my hometown, that was looking for a graphic designer. But as I gave them my resume, I noticed that they were doing like software products, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And the interview went quite well, and I got the job, obviously. And after getting the job, the interesting part was that the designer that was working back then, he actually left. And I didn't really have too much time to get an actual handoff of the stuff that needed to be done, so everything was sort of frugal, and I had to just take care of things as I learned. And the first time was really difficult for me, because I've never actually done UI design, and what the company needed was someone with a little bit more technical skills, whereas I was just a graphic designer. I was really good at it back then, but I was still just a graphic designer, so I had to learn a lot of technical skills back there. I actually started to learn a bit of coding there, C Sharp, JavaScript, and some automations for Photoshop in Ruby. Because I actually had to learn to maintenance to do some maintenance on those scripts that were used to build the skins of the application. That was the main reason. And second of all, I was really into understanding what developers meant when they were talking to themselves, as well as not feeling like this person that's outside looking in. And that's why I actually wanted to learn to code more than anything. And I sort of developed this technical side, and it actually ended up helping me quite a lot in the long run, due to the fact that I actually got to understand what developers meant a lot better than most designers do, because they don't have this innate thing for trying to code, for writing code themselves, so they don't necessarily understand what it entails, what the consequences of writing code are, and so on. And the mindset of a developer is totally different than one of a designer, which is weird, because I can actually switch mindsets, even though sometimes it feels considerably more difficult to switch back from development to design mindset. There I also did some rebranding for the company. So basically I rebranded the entire image of the company, the logos, the promotional materials, did a lot of my normal graphic design shtick, if you will, in addition to also learning a lot about UI and usability as well, because they had a wonderful person there that was fascinated about usability and knew a lot about it. And sort of that a part of that information got to myself as well, and it got me really interested in optimizing UI for usability, for better usability at least. And that's how my sort of initial seed for UX got planted in a way. After that, 5 years later, I just moved on and moved to a different company, which was at that time doing mobile applications that were serving as remote controls for different radios with smart modules in them that were able to play Spotify. They were able to listen to internet radio. They were able to listen to normal radio as well as digital radio. So they had a lot of functionality to them, and the company was actually white labeling for a lot of famous audio brands like Bose, Urban Ears, even Marshall at some point. And they did quite a lot of smart stuff, and the applications for mobile that we built there together with the team, they were really cool, and it was one of the highlights of my career in a way. And I really loved also the fact that the company that I was working for invested heavily into our training for being able to communicate better with ourselves, being able to understand ourselves better, and to be able to sort of create a family environment rather than just a simple work environment, which from my point of view was amazing. And fun fact, we still communicate to this day. I mean, the team per se does not exist anymore because it got closed down. I think it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, I left the company in 2016 or 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Not really sure anymore. And after that, we still kept messaging, and we remained in contact, and the feeling was sort of similar back when we were working. It was really cool atmosphere, and it still is. And the guys are really awesome, and I really like talking to them, and I kind of miss working with them on a daily basis. We made quite the cool team, to be honest, and that was sort of the thing that I always wanted to get back to in all of the companies that I worked for after that. After leaving that company, I went to sort of like this bigger company that was doing outsourcing, which is sort of where I got my toes dipped into the whole outsourcing thing. And to be honest, it didn't really fit my style as well, because I'm more of a product person. I enjoy building products and really getting into the into understanding what a product feels like, to be able to develop and build on top of it and make it better. I really need to understand it and have some sort of ownership of it in a way, which is something that didn't feel like it was going to happen in an outsourcing environment where projects are coming and going and things are dynamic and they are always changing. Plus, at that particular time, my baby was born. I think it was my first one. No, actually it was my second baby, sorry. And it was really hectic for me. It was difficult because my wife was not getting enough sleep. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was usually nervous. I was very cranky when I got to work due to the lack of sleep. The communication in that particular company was not really amazing, and the feeling I had there was not okay. And I just didn't feel like it was the environment for me, because I was looking more I was looking for something which is more closer to what I usually had before. Sort of like this feeling of collaboration, of working together well, of meshing together well, so I can focus more on investing a lot of energy into the product itself, and to ownership of the product, into spawning a lot of ideas to make the product better. And I tried to actually do that when I moved away from them. I think it was the end of 2017, sort of 2018, something like that. That's when I moved to one of my last sort of not the last companies, the last company before the one I am currently working with. And the people there were really cool. I really dug working with them. The atmosphere was nice. The problem was, I think they sort of jumped ship with me, in the sense that they didn't actually need the UX designer, and I think they sort of needed someone for a short-term project, but actually just ended up taking me for the long run, and things just did not work out. And that meant that in 6 months I got to the point where I was put into in front of a decision like, dude, do you want to stay here? You have to reconvert, or if you want to, you can leave. But that obviously didn't work out really well for me, because as you might not know, Timișoara is sort of a small city, and the opportunities that you have here are quite limited in terms of service or product. If you want to, most of the opportunities are for development, for testing, especially for automotive in general, because our city is more focused on automotive than it is on products. So I actually took the bitter pill and decided to myself, okay, I'm done with design. I want to see if I can do something else, and I switched to DevOps for 6 months or so. It was a really interesting time, in the sense that I learned a lot of technical skills that I didn't know I could probably do, and it was sort of nice for me, and the confidence booster in a way, because it told me and demonstrated myself in a way that I'm so versatile as being able to switch over from a completely different field to another one and still come out on top in a way. And for a good time I actually decided I wanted to stay there, but then the thing is, I'm actually accustomed to being sure of myself and the things that I do, and I wasn't 100% sure I could deliver top quality in terms of my work in that particular position. So I wanted to switch over to something which felt natural to me, and that was obviously UX/design. And that's why I joined the current company that I'm working for, Cineto. they are really amazing in terms of the feeling I have here with the people that I work with. They're really nice, and it's one of those places that if you join, you'll enjoy working with the people, because you'll know people are not going to stab you in the back. It's just a small tight-knit family that works together to create a really amazing product, and it's one of the main reasons I stayed here, and I plan to stay as much as I can, obviously. And thing is, here I'm able to focus more on building a product rather than defending my back of all sorts of I don't know, corporate things that are usually happening in the corporate environment, because the company is sort of smaller. And I also, the input both me and my colleague have here is much more valuable and much more appreciated and sort of heard out than it is in a larger company, which is another reason why I really love being here. By the way, Flavius, if you're hearing this, shout out. Today we had a longer meeting, but it was certainly cool, and I definitely enjoy working with both you and the rest of the guys in the company. That being said, this was sort of my journey up until this point, and I hope to be able to still be in this industry in the traditional sense, in the sense that I still want to create products. This is my main focus and the area that I want to develop further on, and the biggest reason why I stuck in this and started actually to do UX design is because I really want to help people get a better sense of products, and at the same time help companies build products that people actually need and enjoy using, instead of building products nobody uses, that nobody wants, nobody cares about, and are just mostly crap. The reason why I'm saying this last part is because I've noticed there are so many startup companies that are absolutely disconnected from reality. And I see a lot of people that are doing a lot of design sprints with them and trying to help them focus and narrow their vision into building a really cool product, but somehow in this whole process they end up building this incredible garbage MVP that nobody uses, or it's absolutely difficult for people to be on board with. I mean, the MVP is 90% of the cases unusable. It has the basic features, and people are just asking money for stuff that usually everybody else takes for granted or just adds them without asking any money. I don't know. It blows my mind how digital product design has transformed itself into this sort of cool thing. And this hip thing that people always parade about, but they never actually take the time to talk to the people that actually use these products. Or if they do, they probably do it internally and say, "Oh, let's just talk about the product ourselves. Let's just see what we think about it. Let's just see what our users, ourselves think about the product." And what ends up is a product that's built on top of personal beliefs, personal needs, and is being driven into oblivion by the sheer ignorance of not talking to actual users. And this is something which happens in a lot of companies that are building products, and it's something that drives me insane every time I hear it and I see it. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I also, shameless plug here, decided to do a small series that I'm going to host and record and upload every Friday. It's going to be about reviewing a particular product, taking one product from Product Hunt and just reviewing it and stripping it down and talking about the features it has in rapport with what my personal opinion is. Does it solve the problem? Is it worth the money? Does it have the features that it needs? Are those features usable? Are they useful? Or are they just fluff? And I want to do that just because I think we sort of need to have this discussion of how products actually work, instead of, I don't know, just have this common sense approach of, I don't want to be that guy that tells you what you build is crap, because it's actually not, because I want to build some sort of a bridge with you, and sort of have this good relationship with you and keep that good relationship. But at the same time, I'm just propagating unuseful things into the public eye, and let them sit there, and let those companies have the impression that they've built a genius product that actually solves some user problems, when it's actually not doing that. I think we need a bit of a reality slap, if you will, in terms of what we build as people, and what companies build. I think they really need a reality check in that sense, and they need people to tell them this thing doesn't work. Please don't do this, don't add these features, because they are not okay, they are not requested, they are not popular. And sort of what happens is that they just rely on post-release user data from people that are really unhappy to be able to fix the problem that they could have fixed by doing some user research beforehand. That's the thing that just boggles me completely. And it's something that I've seen starting happening quite often nowadays. And sort of what I also noticed is that the public acceptance is that it's okay to have crappy products in the beginning, because you'll always fix them post-release into a second phase of not the MVP, into the second phase of the launch, sort of like the actual launch, which never actually happens. And the reason for that is because all of those companies sort of copied a model which is very popular within the gaming industry, and that is a live service. And what live services actually are they are games which are never finished, and you actually have to pay a certain amount of money to get access to a season pass, if you want to, that unlocks and builds upon the game each season, if you want to. And I've seen the similar approach being done with applications as well, and I think it's sort of crap, because you don't have the same public, you don't have the same destination for that particular application. In this case, for example, if we're talking about a service or an app, okay, if the service feels incomplete, and if the functionality you plan on adding into the service later on is going to be is missing right now, and me as a user need that thing really, really a lot, it's very important for me, I'm going to be very pissed if it's not in there, and just look for someone who can deliver better on their promise, even if it's more expensive. So being cheaper doesn't always mean you're better. That being said, guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of Design and a Half. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week and evening, whatever it may be, and see each other next time. Have a good one.